My name's Dale Eastham. I'm a senior digital consultant at Vermeg, and I'd like to welcome you to today's Palmyra 101 webinar. I'll be joined today by my colleague Malcolm Arnold, who's Head of Architecture in the UK office. So what we're going to cover briefly in the next 45 minutes is we'll tell you a little bit about Vermeg. We will give you a high-level whistle-stop tour of our digital transformation platform, which is called Palmyra. So to start, we'll share a few details, who we are, who we work with. Then we'll tell you why we built Palmyra and the key things that differentiate us in the market. Then I'll hand over to Malcolm to go into more detail on each part of the Palmyra platform. Please feel free to submit questions throughout via the chat. After the summary, if time allows, we'll answer some of the questions that have been submitted by some of the attendees. Any we cannot address, we'll come back to you offline. So with that, let's tell you a bit about Vermeg. Vermeg is an independent software company created in 1993, and for all its time has always been focused entirely on providing technology and services for the banking and insurance industry. We have a global presence and a dedicated team of nearly 1,000 professionals who've built up many years of business and technical expertise. In 2014, Vermeg acquired BSB, a leader in insurance and wealth management policy administration systems. We had a further investment in 2017 from Crédit Mutuel Arkéa, a leading French bank, in order to fuel further growth. Other than that, we are privately owned and independent. In 2018, in the UK, Vermeg acquired Lombard Risk, the leading provider of collateral management solutions and regulatory reporting tools for the banking and asset management industry. We have a centre of excellence in Tunisia, where we heavily invest in research and development, and we're proud of the recognition we've received last year for our corporate responsibility, where we won a gold award. Vermeg is also proud to say we have over 500 clients globally, and we're growing every year while offering best levels of support to our existing clients. So you can be confident that by selecting Vermeg, you're working with a trusted partner who understands your business requirements. In terms of our whole offering, just briefly, over the last 25 years, we've developed front-to-back solutions across pensions, life and non-life insurance, used by most of the Tier 1 institutions in continental Europe. We have clients in wealth and asset management, in financial markets, who use our post-trade systems, our market-leading collateral management system, and our best-in-class regulatory reporting platform. And these have all been widely adopted all over the world. We took all that knowledge and experience and feedback from our clients and our research on market demands to invest in our Palmyra digital transformation platform. So as a builder of platforms ourselves, we're approaching digital transformation from a very knowledgeable position, which we believe differentiates ourselves in the market. But what are the challenges in digital transformation? We understand every organization is in different stages of their digital transformation. Customers are demanding a digital experience similar to the one they get from the retail consumer technology giants, your Google, Amazon, Netflix, etc. Meanwhile, the sales, middle and back office teams are often working with tools and manual complex processes built over time based on limitations of the back office IT estate at that moment in time. IT, meanwhile, are managing technical debt, maintaining the fragile core systems, and also finding that developers are hard to find and expensive, delaying time to market for new products and services. Even new organizations are often locked into a digital vendor solution, so they cannot push forwards with their own digital roadmap. And because of this, Vermeg created our own Palmyra digital transformation platform. You might be experiencing some of these issues today yourself. So many times our solutions are taking care of business at many of the leading financial institutions. So as a customer, you may have come across us without even knowing. From taking workplace or private pensions and investment advice, through to taking finance for a vehicle or a laptop, computer, tablet. We are active in many areas and equally active in the capital market sector as we are in retail. So, tell you a little bit about Palmyra. Our proposition has 4 key elements which differentiate us in the market when combined together. And Malcolm will tell you a little bit more about this in a moment. Firstly, to allow citizen developers to build applications, we have our low-code development platform. Secondly, we've leveraged our experience to build a store of packaged business and technical components, which at the same time prevents reinventing processes from scratch. Thirdly, taking this one step further, we've assembled new digital journeys from the view of the end user, which are ready to use as well as being configurable to meet your specific requirements. Finally, we've developed our platform on open source architecture. So as Malcolm will explain later, there's no vendor lock-in with your production code. With this combination, we believe we have something unique in the market that will aid your digital transformation goals. Our clients have reported major gains in terms of time to market and success rate for key programs that have resulted in internal efficiency gains through modernized and digital processes, more agile development capability. So more throughput being delivered more efficiently at a lower cost effective rate because of the less dependency on developer resources. And you can see examples here where projects which should have taken years have been independently audited by our clients, and they see improvement factors 2 to 3 times faster than they experienced before. And with that, I'm going to hand across to my colleague Malcolm, who's going to tell you a high-level overview of Palmyra, and he'll hand back to me for a summary at the end. Over to you, Malcolm.
Thanks, Dale. So my goal is to give you an overview of Palmyra, a good idea about how it works, what it is, what it looks like, what it feels like in your hand, and of course, hopefully to convey some of its unique advantages. These advantages that come from our heritage in banking and insurance. It's no coincidence that we've made Palmyra. It's something that we use internally to develop our own software, and of course, we're pleased to offer it as a platform for others as well. It's basically 3 things, as Dale said. It's a low-code / no-code platform, which allows you to build software with just clicks or in a GUI, which I'll talk about later, without actually having any specialist technical expertise. This is really a huge productivity gain. It's also a component store of ready-to-use business and technical components, and of course, it's a set of digital journeys, as Dale mentioned. So, starting off with the low-code platform. The first thing to see here is that Palmyra, these are real screenshots, and of course it's all, our Palmyra Studio is 100% browser-based, so there's no install, you just use your web browser. There's a very low, well, there's no footprint besides a browser, so you can just get up and running straight away. You just need to log on to the platform, and you're in. There's 2 sorts of low-code no-code generators. There's the Angular side for building front ends, and then there's the Java side for building the back end. So to go through those in order, the top screenshot's all about Angular. So it's an editor for creating front-end applications, front-end UIs. There's a WYSIWYG editor there. You select your widgets on the left in a palette that you would normally expect, drop them onto the panel, fill in the properties, and you can design your user interface. You can render that user interface in a live preview. You can see that preview at different horizontal resolutions to check whether you're hitting a good responsiveness for mobile, tablet, and of course the browser. And there's also a theming kit as well, so you can make your application match your themes and templates. All of this is available through the browser without any actual Angular coding skills. The key thing that it also gives you is that if you happen to be building a user interface on top of some existing APIs. Maybe you're developing a digital journey where you have an existing system, a legacy system at the bank that has some APIs, and those APIs are documented using the industry standard Open API, otherwise known as Swagger. Then Palmyra UI Studio can actually read in that Swagger file, read in the Open API file, understand all of the methods and endpoints that are available for that API, and automatically build you the user interface. So this is a huge accelerant if you have APIs that are documented with Swagger and Open API, and many of them are today, and even more will tomorrow. So it really makes those sorts of form-style user interfaces a doddle, an ease. And of course, although a lot of your digital journey, you might have more sophisticated user interfaces. You might want something that looks really, really amazing. This is all possible. We don't stop you from making handcrafted Angular. It's just that we make sure that the more like the boilerplate, the sort of the 70 to 80% of your application that's a bit boring, all of that becomes very easy to do and is available to do by people who don't have a lot of necessarily great Angular skills. It also sets up the code and the framework into your source code repository in such a way that it's following all of the best practices, and there's less ways that your developers can even go wrong. The bottom code generator is what we use to create backends. So you can see there in the screenshot, apologies, it's a little bit small. It's basically a class model diagram of a particular domain. And although UML class diagrams are sometimes considered complicated, what we find in our experience is that a lot of business users find the notion of classes related many to many, many to one, etc., to be a natural way of describing their business domain. So it's very possible for your business experts to sit with someone who maybe knows a little bit how to model these classes and build the diagram there directly in the browser. What do you get? When you press generate, you basically get all of the code to handle the persistence of that data in a database, to handle the APIs to modify, to update, create, and search through those persistent stores. And of course, those APIs are themselves automatically documented with Open API or Swagger, as I just mentioned. So it's really should be conceivable to see how you can, in the bottom backend, design a business domain with your simply clicking around in the browser, generate a diagram, press go, get a backend, and you can feed that into the front end, and you can get a user interface automatically built off that. So it really is a case of, in some cases, no code platform. It's kind of like the old days of Visual Basic when you could easily make an application with clicking around in a mouse, except that what you get out the other end is not a Visual Basic application, but it's a real application using industry standards like Java and Angular that will be satisfactory to any IT department. If you can move on, Dale.
Yep.
The important thing, one of our promises, key promises, is the no vendor lock-in. And I want to spend a few minutes to explain how we achieve it. The first part is that we guarantee that you'll always own the runtime. So the design time tools that I showed in the previous slide is really about the factory. But what rolls off the factory is yours to keep forever. The output that you get is Angular code and Java code. The Java can be compiled into your web applications that can run on a number of different application servers, run against a number of different typical databases, your MySQLs, Postgres, Oracle, etc. And the Angular code can be compiled. It's just TypeScript. You could build your application with Palmyra and then walk away. The runtime is simply a Java virtual machine for the backend. You might want to use an application server like Wildfly or Tommy, and the Angular, of course, is just standard TypeScript transpiled to JavaScript. So you never need any elements of Palmyra to run at runtime. The dependencies are not esoteric. They're just the Java Enterprise Edition microprofile, web profile, and a few other very typical open source libraries from Apache Software Foundation. Of course, that in itself is necessary but not sufficient for no vendor lock-in. The other side of it is the code that's actually generated, and I've shown a screenshot of that on the right. The code looks handcrafted. It's not all on one line. It's not, it's pretty printed and laid out nicely, and it's the sort of thing that can be maintained by a development team. You could, in practice, design your application in Palmyra, walk away and maintain all of the code manually, and just use Palmyra to bootstrap to get your project started off to a flying start. Of course, we're sure that you'll come back to Palmyra for more, but this is a legitimate way of using the platform. I think you'll just find that the code is a bit can be a bit repetitive, of course, but this is because you're using the platform for boilerplate code for the 70 to 80% of your digital journey that's a little bit repetitive. It allows you to concentrate on the 20 to 30% that really matters for the problem you're trying to solve. You move on, please, Dale. The next aspect of Palmyra platform is our component store. So we obviously have this long heritage of providing banking and insurance software for a range of different financial institutions, investment banks, central banks, retail banks, corporate banks, and insurance providers. So we ourselves have come up with this library of components, which we then allow to be licensed and used in any digital journey that you're building. We divide the components into the business components, technical components. Business components are basically thin slices of functionality. They are independent. Think of your service-oriented architecture. These are services that have no dependency on any other services, but can be put together in novel and unanticipated ways to make a greater system work. I'll go into an example of one particular business component in a second. The technical components are more like your cross-cutting concerns. They don't really providing, I would say, end user or business functionality. They're more like supplying some sort of technical infrastructure need. So you look through some of the names there. You've got the API gateway, you've got audit, you've got monitoring. You want to send emails, use the mail component. You need something to run at a scheduled basis, use the quartz and scheduling component. Those are the technical components, and I've got another example of one of those coming up too. If you move on, please. So just to really show what we mean by these business components, I've just taken one particular example. And admittedly, I'm not an expert in the insurance domain, but we have this component called our pack manager. Pack manager manages a catalog of commercial insurance products grouped in packs. So it does all this convenient things for providing this repository and management layer. And we find that this is a pretty typical need for any software system that deals with insurance. So we've effectively pulled this out of our old insurance product, So Life, and we've made it available in our component store for any sort of arbitrary usage. And we think this is a pretty common need, so it made sense to expose it as its own component. On the right, the diagram is trying to show that the components that we have in our component store all fit together in a certain way. They always have a synchronous API or an asynchronous API. Those will always be documented at REST or a message based APIs, the logging, the security, the audit, the monitoring, all of that, those cross-cutting concerns work in the same way. And this is what allows these components to be put together like Lego bricks into making a full solution. I'll just go to the technical component now. An example technical component is our exchanger. We're quite proud of our exchanger because it seems to find a role in every digital journey or project that we do. If you're reading the text, you might think that it's just another message broker or just another message transformation engine. And at its bare bones, I suppose that's true. But of course, we've come from the financial industry, and our message transformation message broker is optimized for that usage. So when you look on the left, we support things like Swift, Fix, Bloomberg, data adapters, and STAM data is used a lot in Scandinavia. These are things that come standard with the exchanger. So it's really useful, a huge accelerant for a particular digital journey you've got where you might want to or need to integrate with Swift or send Swift messages or receive Swift messages. A lot of clever ideas are killed dead by the idea of having to maintain compatibility with Swift as it changes every year. All of that is not a problem if you use our exchanger. So again, it's another building block that provides a huge leg up into realizing your digital ideas. To put it all together, we've got the digital journey. So I guess that's the final sort of facet of Palmyra. So you put together our low-code platform with our component store, and you implement your digital journey. So your digital journey might be that you have a good idea that fits your organization. You want to offer a new digital journey for some of your own customers. It could be something internal, could be something you think, great, I've got a nice idea, if only we could do this, but you've always been held back and hindered by having to deal with your legacy. We provide Palmyra as a way to implement these high value stories, high value journeys without discarding or needing to rewrite your legacy, whether your legacy is a mainframe in the basement or 10,000 lines of Perl code. You don't want to touch that necessarily. You want to basically provide something over the top. So how you would typically do that is demonstrated on the slide. I won't go through it into detail. This is just one particular digital journey that we've been involved with. But you might see that the problem can be composed of these different building blocks that you can take from our component store, the business components. You might decide that you need a lot of these technical things as well along the bottom in the black. And these are, again, things that tend to kill these projects dead, is in order to get sign off by IT or in order to get best practices, you obviously need to have security. You need to perhaps behave well within a federated web single sign-on. You might need audit. You might need reporting. You might need an API gateway. All of these things tend to add a great deal of effort to your digital journey implementation. But with Palmyra, you just take these components and you've got these concerns dealt with. It allows you just to concentrate on the 20%, the 30%, the part of the business problem that is dedicated to you, that's bespoke to you. So once you've used these business components, of course, you will have to write your own business components to handle the part of the journey that is bespoke to you. This is where the low code / no code platform comes in. So we believe that in providing the UI Studio, which I showed earlier, and allowing you to be able to build these backends using a language, a modeling language that is natural for the business, to be able to create the user interface by simply clicking and dragging and dropping widgets. It really provides an unbeatable accelerant to realizing your digital journeys.
Cool. So thank you, Malcolm. That's the main bulk of the technical pieces. I just wanted to summarize with a couple of quick examples, just to try and bring to life what we've done. So, for example, Credit Agricole Consumer Finance have adopted Palmyra as they decided to embrace the digital channel to sell finance products to retailers, motor car providers, and more. The digital process reduces time and waste by being paperless, has a full audit trail, and is growing year on year as they continue to innovate on the platform. On the right is Cassis. If you don't know them, they're the asset servicing banking group of a merger of Crédit Agricole and Santander, dedicated to asset managers, insurance companies, pension funds, banks, brokers, and corporate clients. With a global footprint, they cover execution, clearing, forex, custody, depository, fund administration, much more. And what they've done is they've really adopted Palmyra as a way to expand their digital offering, build their own journeys. OLIS is one of their main investment portals that they have, and they continuously partner with us and invest in the platform, which is pretty good considering they have assets under custody of 3.9 trillion euro, and so it's a pretty big deal. And then on the bottom right, not last but not least, the European central banks collectively use Palmyra, and we've built with them ECMS, a unified system for managing assets used as collateral in Eurosystem credit operations. Couple of local ones for the UK audience. Scottish Widows, the workplace pension schemes known as Money for Life, part of Lloyds Banking Group. It allows their over 500,000 customers to view the pension investments conveniently, and reduces requests to their contact centre and low-level requests to their advisors, as well as reducing paper. That's been around for very successful for a period of time. It's got many awards for customer service, and it's still very heavily used by people. It's certainly this time wanting to check how their pension's performing, how the funds are doing in that pension. And along similar lines, Embark was an existing customer through Zurich in the UK. When they sold their business for their retail investments business to Embark, who's a very fast-moving company who are trying to change things in the market, and they worked with us to develop a pretty neat portal solution for their advisors and sales teams to be able to see their entire assets under management, and then be able to drill down into the individual account and be able to model plans for people with their long-term savings. So it's really driving their business, and it's something that previously was all done on separate client server blue screens and things like this. It was hard to get to the right tools, no audit trail, no management visibility. So and they've also developed with us a self-care portal, which means that again, their customers can send secure messages, they can communicate with their broker and ask for advice, which means that relationship becomes tighter and it reduces churn. And because a lot of the processes are now working in a more efficient way, it allows the advisors and the business to go and seek to onboard further clients as they go along. So just to recap, these businesses and many others have benefited from our business and technology experience to help them modernize and digitize their processes and customer experiences. It's accelerated the time to market by 2 to 3 times, so they reduce their delivery costs and start to see value sooner than expected from their investment, which is a double win, saving costs and seeing the benefit of having a digitized platform in the market by using the local platform, the library, the suite of components for business and technology, and the digital journeys combination, which is something that we think is unique for us. Just for transparency, we show you the where we sit in the marketplace. We're conscious there's a lot of specific digital journey providers, a lot of people providing very set business components and multi-experience platforms, low code. And as hopefully you've seen during the session today, there's parts of that which we have cut across all of that. And for financial services specifically, we do things that we've not seen anyone else do in the market. We can certainly, in some cases, we've even been implemented over the top as an overlay of people who have some solutions in place already that just can't quite give them the business goal that they need. So we'd be happy to talk through how we work across these circles at a future time with you. So just to recap, we've talked about 25 years of experience in banking and insurance. We have reputable clients around the world, and we're growing in every region. So we've invested in the last couple of years in expanding our office, our sales teams, our people on the ground in your region to really give you the answers you need, help you solve your problems. We continuously invest through our Centre of Excellence in research and development for Palmyra and our other products. So there's always something new, something that's going to keep that platform fresh, so that you're getting more value over the lifetime of your relationship with us. The open source angle, we don't think anyone's proposing to offer quite the quality of what we offer and still have it as open source. And the way people are using it quite often, as we said, building the initial proof of concepts, having someone on the business side be able to test something, learn about it, modify it, then build the minimum viable product in a period of months, is something that we think is going to help in these challenging times where you've got to try and be competitive, but not but be mindful of cost at the same time. And it's something in terms of that agility, we call it biz DevOps. So it's got the business and a continuous development approach. Just to mention, we do have an office. I don't think anyone on the meeting today is in Asia Pacific, but we have our offices there. We've got certainly some welcome our colleagues from North America, Latin America, and if you don't know them already, they'd be happy to have a conversation with you. Just let us know. So that was it, really. That's all I wanted to really cover on this session today. So we can see if we can have a look at the questions and answers. If there isn't anything else, then we'll close the meeting with that, and look forward to hear from you in due course. Okay, thank you for attending.